Today, we'll talk about the 7 worst calls in sports history. Let's head into it. Number 7. The Hand of God. Argentina's Diego Maradona has had one of the most evident handballs ever in a match against England during the 1986 World Cup. The goal gave Argentina a lead, and then Maradona scored again 4 minutes later on what is referred to as the goal of the century. The handball was so obvious, right in front of the net, so there was no way it was supposed to go uncalled. With England scoring at the 80th minute instead of playing from behind, the score should have been tied to 1. Argentina won that game in the quarterfinal, then beat West Germany in the finals. Number 6. The Tuck Rule. One of the most famous plays in NFL playoff history even got its own rule when Charles Woodson sacked Tom Brady's strip, appearing at the end of the AFC divisional round game in 2001 and sent the Oakland Raiders to the AFC Championship game. A controversial ruling, however, eventually allowed Brady and the New England Patriots to move on, winning the first of 6 Super Bowls in the next 2 decades. Brady tried to bring the ball back to his body after being hit by a blitzing Woodson, but the football came loose and the Raiders recovered. With less than 2 decades, Brady tried to bring the ball back to his body after being hit by a blitzing Woodson, but the football came loose and the Raiders recovered. With less than 2 minutes remaining, the referees claimed this arm was moving forward, turning the fumble into an incomplete pass and allowing New England to kick a game-tying field goal to send the game to overtime. Adam Vinatieri kicked another field goal in the snow to win the game there, and the Tuck Rule was etched forever in stone. Number 5. Jim Joyce goes blind. Pitcher Armando Galarraga came up 1 out short in what should have been the 21st perfect game in MLB history because of one of the worst calls in baseball history. Jason Donald hit a grounder to first baseman Miguel Cabrera during the 9th inning of a Detroit Tigers and Cleveland Indians game. Galarraga ran to the first and seemed to make it in time for the 27th and final out of the game, but Jim Joyce, the first base umpire, called Donald safe. Joyce was pretty quick to admit it was a missed call, but it doesn't change the fact that Galarraga, a young pitcher who made only his 3rd start, missed out on a historic event because of a terrible call. Joyce and Galarraga both played it well and made the mess up a little more bearable. Pitcher who made only his 3rd start missed out on a historic event because of a terrible call. Joyce and Galarraga both played it well and made the mess up a little more bearable, but it's still rough to watch to this day. Number 4. Colorado Buffaloes get 5 downs. This is probably the most ridiculous of the bad calls, because it's just something that shouldn't happen because every adult should know how to count to 4. But a 5th down on the goal line was given to the Colorado Buffaloes in 1990 to beat the Missouri Tigers. This is because the refs didn't count a ball spike by Charles Johnson to stop the clock. Johnson spiked the ball again on what should have been 4th down to stop the clock, and then he ran into the end zone on 5th down from the 1-yard line for a game-winning touchdown with no time left. This may be a bit more forgettable, although I doubt it. If that season Colorado hadn't gone on to share the National College Football Championship, they shared the title with the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets in 1990, though this game makes people wonder if that should be the case, as they ought to have lost this game entirely. Number 3. 2019 NFC Championship Game. The Los Angeles Rams' Nickel Roby Coleman hit the New Orleans Saints receiver Tommy Lee. Number 3. 2019 NFC Championship Game.
15 points a game allowed over the last 6. Did not get the first down. Play made by Zed. Here's a toss. Aaron Jones running right, cuts back. Big pickup. The answer is Williams, and he gets dropped by Drake Greenlaw. From the 11, Garoppolo keeps, throws. Deebo Samuel turns on the Jets. 18! Still going. And finally loses his balance inside the 40.
The Los Angeles Rams' Nickel Roby Coleman hit the New Orleans Saints receiver Tommy Lee Lewis on the 3rd round in what may be the most head-scratching no call in NFL history. The play appeared to be an obvious penalty as he didn't play on the ball and just hit the receiver as the ball arrived. With no penalty on the game, the Saints had to settle for a field goal to go up by 3, allowing the Rams to drive to the field for a game-tying field goal for 1.5 minutes remaining. If there is a penalty, as it should have been, New Orleans would have ran out the clock and kicked a goal in the field with no time left to advance to Super Bowl 53. I am in the group that still thinks this didn't decide the game, because the Saints had opportunities to win the game, such as stopping the Rams from driving the field at the end or not throwing an interception in overtime. But there are plenty of reasons for any New Orleans fan to get angry, as this should have sealed the win, bearing a missed chip shot at the end of regulation. Number 2. Roy Jones Jr. Olympic Travesty. In the 1988 Seoul Olympics, Roy Jones Jr. appeared to beat down Park Si-hun at one of the most controversial Olympic moments ever.
Back at the Chomshil Students Gymnasium located in the Seoul Sports Complex, Meyer Albert, Ferdy Pacheco, we get set for the gold medal round of the 156-pound light middleweight division. Roy Jones, the 19-year-old from Pensacola, Florida, who has been outstanding during the competition, going against Park Si-hun of Korea from Masan, Korea, located in the south.
In the 1988 Seoul Olympics, Roy Jones Jr. appeared to beat down Park Si-hun at one of the most controversial Olympic moments ever. Jones was somehow deemed as the loser after landing 86 punches to Park's 32, after 3 of the judges thought Park should win. Obviously, there was foul play here, as the referee had to call for a standing 8 count. Not only did Jones completely destroy Park in number of punches landed, but he also had 2 separate moments when he hit Park hard enough. There have been some controversial decisions in boxing, but in Park's home country of South Korea, there is none more clearly fixed than this one. Number 1. 1972 Olympic basketball game. In one of the most controversial Olympic moments ever, Roy Jones Jr. seemed as controversial as the loss.
Well, confusion reigns, but the United States still, they have that 1-point lead, 50-49, as a result of 2 pressure-packed foul shots by Doug Collins of Illinois State. Now the clock shows 3 seconds. There is time for the Russians to go to their big man, Alexander Belov. They're going to try. Alexander Belov between 2 American defenders. Back there with him, Jim Ford and McMillan. And the Russian team has mobbed Alexander Belov. And this time it is over.
In one of the most controversial Olympic moments ever, Roy Jones Jr. seemed as controversial as the loss of Jones was in 1988, when the Soviets beat the United States with the help of the referees. It did not beat the end of the 1972 Olympics basketball finals. Doug Collins not only had the buzzer ringing late in the game during 2 free throws, but the Soviets had help inbounding the ball with 3 seconds left behind. They had 3 opportunities to get the ball in, but they also had the clock stop for them to start their play, so they could finally win the game and the gold medals in the last second layup. The silver medals the American team earned have still not been claimed because they feel cheated, and they really are right. What do you think about this list? Do you agree with our picks? Which one was the worst call? Let us know in the comment section. This brings us to the end of our video. I hope you enjoyed it. Hit like if you did, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel so that you don't miss any of our videos in the future. Also, watch the 2 videos that are on your screen because I'm sure you'll love them. With that, I'll see you in the next video. And also that you don't miss any of our videos in the future. Also, watch the 2 videos that are on your screen because I'm sure you'll love them. With that, I'll see you in the next video. Oh.